only one seem to make good beer. And have fun hanging out with your friends. Here's Dono.
There is my one sunflower I managed to grow, but we're not here to talk about sunflowers exclusively. We're gonna make a Patersbier. So I just looked up. If you don't know what Patersbier is, essentially it means father's beer, so it comes out of the monastic tradition. And as you can imagine, if you're making these triples, doubles, these big quads beers, you're not drinking those beers as your daily beer. So the fathers make a lighter beer, and that's not too available outside of the monasteries, it sounds like, but you know, as a homebrewer you can make it yourself. Now I first made this in 2010. Quick kind of fun side note is my homebrewing friend at the time, I sent him some and he really liked it, and now started a brewery, 4 Quarters, which you've seen me talk about on this channel, and one of their flagship beers is a Patersbier. So word gets around. It's going to just be all Pils malt, and instead of German Pils, I'm using Belgian Pils, 10 pounds of that. The bittering on this one is just going to be 1 ounce of German tradition, and then I'm going to do a ounce of Zaz at the end, and also the Imperial high gravity Belgian yeast. I can get it later to get what the brand is, I forget. But the gravity is going to be around 1050, and the idea is to have a pretty light, drinkable, somewhat dry beer, but with a little bit of hops and also a light Belgian yeast character. So did the mash last night, got the wort heating up. I suppose I can do a quick garden update. I know somebody was asking about that. The green beans have come in nicely. Been eating those and even pickling some of those. I've had a fair amount of cucumbers, but what happens is they get hidden under some of these leaves or hanging, and then they get kind of big, and I don't know they're there, but I still can eat them. The cilantro is kind of come and gone. I've been using some of this basil. And the other thing that's doing fairly well is tomatoes. I've got some little ones going back in there. This kale is doing very well. And then I have some more kale here. And I've had a couple of jalapenos, a couple of green peppers, and the tomatoes over here are doing pretty well too. This plant has got just a lot of kind of bigger ones. I don't know if they're Romas or what, if I have a sign, but oh yeah, they are, but for whatever reason in this spot they're like definitely bigger than my normal Romas. And then see, like, here's some smaller ones, like no more normal size. Then I do have these bigger fellas here. But yeah, just it's all coming along, but the main thing today is get this beer made. This is the yeast I was trying to remember, triple double Belgian Ale B48, and it is now time to go put in the flame out addition. It's been an hour, so we're gonna run out to the garage, turn off the burner, and do that. Here we go. Turn this off, and we'll turn this off, and we'll turn this off, and we will just dump those in. I'm not going to do a timed hop stand. It takes a while to cool the wort down anyway, so basically I'm going to go get my other pitcher and container where I scoop out half of this wort, carry it down, then carry the rest down, and then add it together and chill it down. Okay, everything has gone well. I will get a reading, but it's looking like it's about 1050, and there's 5 gallons, and Here goes the yeast. Just like that. I'm not making a starter. That's been something I've been experimenting with lately with these pouches and with average gravity beers. I've been seeing if I can skip that step at times if it's just like a 1050 beer, because you're supposed to be able to, and so far there's been no problems. If with a beer like this, and I made a Hefeweizen, I made a New Zealand Pale Ale, there's another one in there too, but I've just been pitching these packets, and you know, so it starts fast enough and gets good fermentation, no off flavors, good attenuation. So yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of a challenge to keep this below 70. My basement's probably like 75, but I use some ice jugs and stick them next to the fermenter, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, it's Tuesday morning. I brewed this on Sunday morning, and it's hovering around 68, 70. If I use this gun, what do we get? 67. And this room is, basement room, if I look on here, is more like 74. So by putting these ice jugs and ice packs underneath these shirts, I'm able to lower it probably 6 to 8 to more degrees, because if it was 74 down here and if it was actively fermenting, it'd probably be, you know, 76, 77. So it's just a little easy trick to lower the temp a few degrees. Alright, so we're gonna try this Patersbier. We can maybe do a shot of it outside for a little more clear view of it, but it's, here, we can go in here for a sec too, I suppose. It's, oh, you know what, I thought the glass would be nice and clean, but it's clear. It's gotten clear. It's been in the keg a month, and I did add gelatin, so we'll give it a try. So here we are outside, where a beer like this is meant to be consumed, or inside
of a beer like this.
So we're just gonna give it a quick taste.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no frills beer, but it's a little slightly nuanced, different than just like a blonde, American blonde.
For sure, that yeast has got some frills.
Well, and I intentionally almost always ferment the Belgians, well, maybe except for like a whip beer, but cooler, to try to not over accentuate the flavors from the different yeasts.
This is awesome. It's like super carbonated and bubbly. It's almost champagne-like with the bubbles coming off of it. The nose is just exactly what you would think from a Patersbier. That Belgian-y kind of, I don't know if I'd call it clove, but just a little peppery, spicy.
Whatever you think of as a kind of a Belgian yeast character, which I think they, oh, this bee wants some of this beer.
This is like a triple, but
come on now, I'll get you some later.
It's a single triple.
Well, it is kind of like a single. In the intro, I talk about the monasteries and how they kind of make this for their drinking. Another thing I like is I used Belgian pills. Dingman's is a Belgian maltster, but you know, any pills malt is probably going to give you a little bit better of a result for this kind of thing than like a pale two-row type malt.
For sure.
A little lighter.
Man, I haven't had one of these in so long, and now it's like, it's kind of like when you have a porter in the middle of the summer and you're like, why don't I brew porter in the summer? It's like, I have a hot Patersbier, like, why don't I brew this every year or multiple times a year? Because this is like a perfect light.
Yeah.
What is the ABV? It can't be more.
Well, it actually went down to 1.005. I was going to mention that, from 1051. So,
oh, okay.
You know, it was, I don't know what that makes it, 5 probably.
5.5.
I don't know if that's.
But these can come in more like a 4.
Probably, sure. I mean, that's up to the brewer. I don't even know if you can go buy a commercial one other than, like I mentioned, I think in the intro, 4 quarters. He makes one out there, he did. But I just, to me, it's sort of like the cream ale that I did this summer. That was using corn, and but just a kind of a light beer, but not watery and not without character and without uniqueness.
Yeah, that yeast is.
It's nice and clear.
Are you going to use that cake for like a triple or a
I
double
made it
or
Belgianish IPA.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me that. Okay, yeah.
Already fermenting. That will be the next beer video, because that one is fermenting now, and when the next keg is empty, I'll get kegging it.
Cool.
But yeah, it's, if you've never made this type of beer, it's easy. It's quaffable. You could definitely drink some of this if you wanted that type of beer on hand.
Like you said, it's the cream ale. I almost want to say it's like the Bud Miller Coors of a beer with a lot more character to it. Like, you feel like this would be a pretty good multiple drinking, easy drinking summer, a little peppery, a little spicy, but there's nothing like heavy or like, you know, over the top about it. It is very restrained.
If you didn't use a Belgian yeast and you used a lager yeast, then you're making a Pils.
Exactly.
If you use an American ale yeast,
making a blonde.
you're making a blonde, and sometimes they have more hops, sometimes they don't. So really, it's just kind of about the Belgian yeast. But yeah, go ahead and give it a try. I mean, this is a beautiful day. Got my giant sunflower behind us. I thought we would sit in front of that. Look at these leaves, man. Look at this, like,
the leaves, man. Look at
build a tent out of those things, yo. So yeah, anyway, that's about it. We don't got to go on and on about it because there ain't just a whole lot to say other than it's yummy and delicious. And carbonated. Alright, well, thanks for coming over, giving it a taste, and we'll catch you later.
Dude, it's baller.